Many of the disadvantages that people raise about introducing this reform stem from two main sources. One is the culture of the institution, and the other stems from the fact that people see badly constructed learning outcomes and they say, but those aren't serious, this is a university. And the reason for this is that the easy learning outcomes, the low-level ones, the ones that describe this, list that, etc., these are easy to write, but they're not really university level. And so people see those and they say this is trivial. We'll be looking at sequencing in Block 4, and of course you need to think about the easy steps, because in some outcome which is very new, you might have to start with a very easy step. With others which have been partly developed at school, you might start with a medium step, but you want eventually to reach an advanced step. And so we'll be looking at that in Block 4. But there are a number of points I think I'd like to remind you of, if you don't know already. And I think it's good to remember the distinction between procedural knowledge and declarative knowledge. Now, declarative knowledge can be described as the factual information that you store in your memory. And it's more or less static. It's just the accumulation of information in your memory. Some people call it descriptive knowledge, propositional knowledge, etc. But declarative knowledge is a well-known term. And it's that part of knowledge which describes how things are. Things, events, processes, their attributes, their relations. These things, events, processes define the domain of declarative knowledge. And in the past, I think, most university education concentrated on the accumulation of this declarative knowledge. Now, procedural knowledge is a bit different. It's the knowledge of how to perform, how to operate, how to use the declarative knowledge. And it's sometimes known as know-how in English. And it is said that one becomes more skilled in problem solving, for example, when you rely on procedural knowledge more than declarative knowledge. Now, neither kind of knowledge is complete. You need them both. Declarative knowledge is pretty useless if you don't know how to use it. And procedural knowledge, however intuitive and clever, is essentially lacking if it doesn't have the declarative base. I think we've all known people who are as sharp as tacks. They are intuitive, they're clever, but they lack a kind of rationale when they're doing things. And this is because all they have is the procedural knowledge and they lack the declarative base. I think I want to say one more thing about this whole competence and learning outcomes business before I go any further. I think it's very important to have a lightness of touch about it. As long as you are approximately in the right ballpark, that's good enough. You don't have to spend days fighting over the exact wording of something, as long as it is heading in the right direction. I think far too many people worry. Competences are huge categories. Ability to do research, good heavens. You know, it's a great big fuzzy category. What we have to do is to take this competence, which you would expect all university graduates to have developed to some extent, and then see what bits of it are relevant for our students and write learning outcomes for it. In each course, in a program, as you can see from the diagram, in each program, you have a list of program competences or learning outcomes. Those are in the column on the left. You might have 20 of these. And the program may be made up of 8, 10 different courses. You teach one of them or 2 of them. Now, each of the program competencies must be developed in some of these courses. And of course, you can only decide how you're going to share them out by the staff sitting together and deciding which of them are appropriate for the courses they are teaching. So it is a collaborative decision-making process. No course should have more than 2 to 4 learning outcomes, I don't think. Other people would differ, but I think 2 to 4 is just nice. And you should assess the learning outcome, which we'll discuss at another time. It's important that you cover all of the program competencies in some of the courses. So your diagram will have crosses against all of the program competencies in one course or another by the time you've finished doing this design exercise. At this point, there's a reading task for you to do, which recaps on this material that I've just outlined to you now in a bit more detail.